Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Tuesday Table Talks, where we explore all aspects of relationships, be it family, friends, or even your partners. I'm Nasrull,
And I'm Miza.
and this is
The Blabber Station.
Woo! Episode 2 of Tuesday Table Talks.
Yes.
Wow, I love this series the most
Yes.
because this is where we relax and don't have so much scripts or notes to look at compared to Spooky Sundays and Mondays with Miza. Yeah, so we would like to say thank you to those who have actually listened to the first episode. And actually, to be honest, when we refer back to the analytics of our podcast, right, the listens for Tuesday Table Talks was the most lah compared to the
Yes.
others. I mean, it could also be because that's the first episode that's being aired lah kan, and
Yep.
tak ada follow up for the next. Tapi we choose to believe that
You guys love it the most.
I love this
So thank you.
this episode the most. Okay, so thank you so much for listening and
For following us on our Instagram.
yes,
And
thank
even
you
if
for
you
all that.
guys subscribe to our Spotify. Okay. As in, to our podcast.
Yes. Okay. All of that lah. Okay.
Yes.
So picking up where we left off from the previous episode, we discussed on how we are in a relationship, like me and Miza, and also how we are moving forward lah in this together. BTO, our wedding plans,
Yeah.
and all of that lah, and our dynamic as a
As a couple.
as couple, all of that. So amidst all of that, right, like macam the plannings and everything like that, we
Yeah.
always pose these questions to each other. And Miza, what's the question?
Are we ready to be parents?
Yes.
Are we ready to raise a child
So
or
that's
children?
yeah. So that's the topic for today lah. So basically today we're gonna talk about parenting and what we think about the modern parenting style, and then what we think about how we were brought up, and all
And
along those lines lah.
and how do we think we will be as parents
Yes.
in the future?
Yeah. So why do we ask each other? Like, why do we ask each other, are we ready to be parents? Because many a times where me and Miza have our casual lunch ke, macam dinner ke somewhere, then we realize that we have kids nowadays lah, like macam tengah act macam monyet gitu in the public,
Yes.
and then like just tengah monkeying around lah. So we like,
How would we
Yeah.
handle
how would we handle that? Macam,
to be in their shoes?
Yeah. Like when we look at the parents, like especially those parents yang macam amongst our age group lah,
Mm-mm.
like macam in the
Very
30s.
young or even very young.
Yeah, they tend to let the child be free most of the time lah.
Mm.
And tak ada macam, macam dulu where we grow up, macam salah sikit je, pap, kena.
Or just like the stare.
Yes, that stare that your
The
mom
stare
give you.
like you wait when you go home you mati. That kind of
Yes,
stare.
or like macam when you naughty, like 1,
Yes.
2,
The counting down.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the number of counts you accumulate, tu lah the number of strokes of rotan you're gonna get.
Now you count down, they count with you.
Yeah.
1.
10.
That's my nephew. 9. 10.
Yeah. So that macam all those things is not happening again. So that's why when me and Miza keep talking, like macam we ask ourselves, macam, are we gonna adopt the way our parents bring us up, or are we gonna change the
yeah.
way? Because we personally have our own experiences, and we will share with all of you the pros and cons of how we were brought up, and also maybe I will share our thoughts on how the modern parenting has affected kids nowadays, especially your beloved Generation Z.
Yes, but of course that comes with our disclaimer.
Mm.
We are not professionals in any field, so please don't take us word for word. We are here only to share what's in our thoughts in
Yeah.
hopes that all of you can relate to it.
But if it gets too personal for you, then reflect lah.
Then
Okay?
to go personal.
Okay,
I'm
then
sorry.
you choose to
No,
reflect lah,
no.
Okay. So there are 4 types of parenting styles. Okay, Miza, we wanna take the first one?
Okay, so we have the first one, which is permissive or gentle parenting lah. So basically, like permissive or being gentle parenting is like you don't enforce rules or on your kids, just very carefree. You let them be kids lah. So as simple as macam kalau kat kenduri, tengah kenduri doa tengah baca doa ke apa, then your kids just running around, but the parents just don't care because they think that it's fine lah, they're kids. Let them run lah. Yeah, so that's
Kalau tak bila lagi kan, diorang nak
Yes.
lari-lari kan.
kan budak-budak.
Yeah, so those are the kind of
yes.
things. Not that we are talking down on it.
No.
We're just explaining,
Yes.
giving you the image.
Examples, Okay.
Yeah. Okay, then the next one is your authoritative parenting style. So in simpler English, it's basically macam, okay kid, I understand you, but I take no bullshit. So it's macam like you create a positive relationship, more of like creating a positive relationship. So I set rules for my kid. So macam if he want to do things that I don't agree with, I will still say no. But then I will try to explain the reason why I say no, is because of this, and all of this. Yeah, so it's macam it's not a straight up no, and you don't get an explanation from me lah. So that's authoritative parenting style. Well, you still have those ground rules lah. Basically, macam you are still caging your kid lah. So that's why the term is called authoritative lah.
Yes.
Okay, the next one.
And we have the neglectful parenting style. Okay, so just provide little guardians, nurturing or attention. So maybe as simple as like maybe you don't even turn up for their milestones, or you just don't care about their progress. Just neglectful lah. Yeah, just neglect.
Pergi ni lah, pergi beli rokok tak balik lah.
Pergi beli pampers tak balik.
Diam lah.
Sorry.
Itu bukan neglectful, Syah. Itu dah living, Syah. Neglectful means your presence is still there lah. I mean your kids still see you, cuma
you are just not as involved lah.
Yeah, not as involved lah. Okay, then the last one is your kind of favorite kind of parents lah. I guess those in me and Miza's age group lah. Authoritarian, which is basically no bullshit and the dictator in your life. Okay, so they actually focus more on obedience, more on like macam punishment or macam strict disciplines lah, you know, macam all. So basically, in a nutshell, is your tiger mom lah. Okay, so you all cannot do anything else other than what I have carved for you. Your future is in my hands.
Yes.
Yeah, you have no other alternative route lah. So that's your authoritarian lah. So with all these 4 parenting styles, so at this point, you listeners can start to think lah, what kind of parenting style your parents have parented you with,
or even you yourself as a parent.
Yeah.
What are you like using it against your kids?
So you can start to categorize yourself lah. I mean, there's nothing bad or good, but just for your knowledge lah. Okay. So after me and Miza did some research into this, the amazing thing about this is that we actually learn a lot out of these different parenting styles, like the methods lah. So when we dive into this research about all these parenting styles, we start to talk between ourselves, and we ask ourselves, like, you know what? Let's relate back to the previous episode, right? Like how our dynamic is. Like now you all know how we work as a couple, right? In a nutshell. So Miza, what do you think my parenting style would be if I were to become a parent?
Yours, I think you would definitely be an authoritative parent. Yeah, I feel like you, as an example, like to my nephew, as simple as that, I can see that, you know, you explain to them, okay, you are doing it wrong, but why? Also, you create a positive environment for them while being authoritative. I think you are that. Yeah.
Oh, best word. Hero, eh? I'm every child's hero.
Alright. Moving on.
Well, I think like, for myself, if I were to have a kid, betul jugalah. I would try my best to become the authoritative. I would adopt the authoritative parenting style lah. But I think if I were to have a daughter, I think authoritative semua out of the window. I would become like permissive lah.
Habislah anak aku.
You know, like especially daughter. You know, I have this weakness with baby girls lah. You know, I think like macam I would adopt the permissive parenting style lah. I don't know lah. Things haven't happened yet lah kan. Yeah.
Spoil lah budak tu.
So yeah. So I think what your parenting style would be is
what's mine?
You all know what's the answer lah.
Korang ajar apa?
Okay. You are the authoritarian.
I am the dictator.
The dictator for the kid.
Yes. Bow down, peasant. Call me ma'am.
Oi, apa ni? Dah jadi slavery pula.
No, but actually, I think I am both authoritarian and authoritative. At some certain points, I think I can be, you know, like kasih punishment, but at the same time, I think I would macam explain to them kenapa. I think a bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that also lah. I mean, but then I think compare the both of us, I think you will be more of the stricter parent lah.
Tiger mama.
Yeah. I mean, like example, like for now, like what's happening now in the current times, like me and Miza, we are actually tutoring Miza's nephew. So almost all the time, I will always have Miza to be the bad cop.
Kurang ajar
And
this
then
one.
after that, I will be the good cop, like macam when you want to relay messages across, like this kind of things. So yeah lah, I think from there we all know lah that actually Miza would be the dictator, like the authoritarian lah. She will adopt the authoritarian parenting style lah.
But you'll never know lah. Suddenly when
Yeah,
we
we'll
have a
never
child,
know.
suddenly you become the authoritarian, then I
Yeah.
become the permissive. Terus total opposite.
Yeah. So anything can happen at this point.
Yes.
Yeah. So now you understand the parenting styles, right? Okay. So just to reflect back lah. So now, I mean like Miza, we were both children once, right? And then
and I think we grew up in the same era, and I think our parents also about the
Yeah.
same close the age gap.
yeah. So I
quite
want to
same.
talk about how you were being raised. So let's talk about how we are being parented. So Miza, you want to share
Okay,
a bit of what your parents are?
Okay, I grew up with 2 siblings, so I'm the last one. And me and my siblings, we have a big age gap, as big as 14 years. Okay, so obviously my first sister is a different era lah. Okay, I feel like as my dad goes down the child, he is very different. I think my mom stays the same. Okay, so my mom, I think she's the authoritative.
Right.
And a bit of permissive when we are very young lah. So she let us be kids lah, but to a certain point lah.
Right.
But my dad, I think when my sister was growing up, right, I think he's a bit I have a feeling he's a bit neglectful. At the same time, he's authoritarian. But
Right.
I think it's because the nature of his work and him at that point of time, I think during their time, right,
Yeah.
he's like the guy is the one going to work, okay, and then the wife is the housewife. So I think because of that, I would not say it's his choice to be neglectful, but I think the situation caused him to be like that.
Right.
When it comes to my first sister and my second sister. But when it goes down to me, right, I think he changed lah, because the era also changed really, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very like to say, I think among my siblings, I'm the luckiest, because when it comes to me, I think I'm like the princess, I can say, because my first sister, right, pernah kena pukul, as a kid.
Okay.
Like so my dad is authoritarian lah. As simple as tak tukar channel, TV channel pun boleh takut tau. So
macam everything have to go to his
yes,
way lah.
he's the man of the house lah gitu.
So he's the
very
boss.
fierce. Yes, he is very fierce. Sampai my second sister pernah kena marah sampai demam. Yeah. So my dad, I would say last time, when they had my first sister, I think, and with my second sister, because my first sister and second sister, they are quite close. The age gap is very close. So I think my dad was authoritarian and a bit neglectful. Yeah, because of his nature of work. Then my mom is the permissive. I think more of authoritative. My mom main parenting style would be authoritative. She's like, hey, cannot do this, hey, like that. But then why?
Right.
Then when it comes to me, my dad is more involved. I can see that my dad is more permissive. Yeah, permissive and a bit authoritarian. So he changed over time.
It's just, I think it's just last child syndrome lah.
Yes.
Buah
Princess.
hati lah.
Buah hati lah. Yeah. So I'm closer to my dad when I was younger lah. Now that we grew up, right? I think because my dad is not so involved in our the parenting of when we were children, right? I think we kind of like quite distant when we are growing up lah. But now that we have my sisters have kids, right? We can see that he is more he's very permissive.
Very lah.
Very. I think you witnessed it before. With my nephews, I think anything goes. So you can see the difference. But my dad's main parenting style is authoritarian.
I would like to share how I'm being brought up lah. Okay. So actually there's not much difference maybe because our parents all belong in the same era kan. So macam the way they want to parent their kids pun macam almost similar. So for my dad, right, I wouldn't say he's an authoritarian though. Macam majority neglectful lah. I mean, not that it's bad, because like what you've mentioned earlier, macam fathers are known to be the hardworking man lah.
Yeah.
Basically macam the sole breadwinner of the family. So macam he have to be out of the house and work his ass off. Because my father back then, what I understand from my mom lah, they actually juggle around 2 jobs. So, but all is macam delivery based job lah. So the first job is macam dia buat van delivery, delivering parcels for a company. Then the other one is macam pakai motor, where the dispatch macam blood samples ke apa ke, something like that lah. Yeah, so macam they have been, no, not blood sample, macam dia hantar surat khabar. So dia hantar surat khabar, yeah. So macam dia will always work
He's
macam
just a hustler lah.
yeah, so dia macam ada this hustler mindset. So macam pagi dia start lepas subuh punya kind, whack himself all the way out, all the way until like macam 5:30 for the first job. Then the second one dia rembat like macam around, then dia balik rumah dulu or what, then eat or what. Then that dia keluar 7:30 night shift lah sampai pukul 10:30 lebih gitu. Then dia balik. So most of the time macam on weekdays kan dia macam not around lah. Dia macam tak present lah. Yeah, so basically when we grow up, we are more closer towards our mother. So that's why I say that my dad, my cara parenting side is more macam neglectful lah. Okay, and then since majority of it is neglectful, then the other parts of the punya style is macam authoritarian lah. Yeah, I mean of course lah kan, you're the man of the house kan, so you take no bullshit because kau dah penat kerja balik. Then takkan you wanna layan budak-budak Makerena, right? Yeah, so macam there was once where he was very tired from work. Then on that day was sasui gila lah. It was our report book day lah. Okay, the famous report book day lah. So I think I didn't do very well. So macam when he came back home, then I present him my report book.
Yeah.
Then he took the book. I think he was very unhappy lah with the score that I got lah, because it was really a bad results lah. It was really bad lah. He kind of like took the book and then he just threw it like towards me in that, you know, macam
violent.
Yeah, just violent things lah. So yeah lah. So my dad punya parenting involvement is only during report book days lah. Macam parent meeting semua is never him lah. It's always my mother lah. Okay, so that's for my dad. So for my mom pula, so my mom is a clear cut macam authoritative lah. Dia macam borderline tau, authoritative dengan authoritarian both.
Oh okay.
Dan dia macam borderline gila. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what kind of parenting style to say lah. Macam dia tak ada satu. Because my mom, dia macam, I realised lah, at this day and age, I realised that my mom was being so reasonable. At any point of time, when I feel like macam, I think she's macam dia macam going overboard, then I fikir balik like, actually, itu benda tak overboard sih. Yeah. Like all those things are reasonable. So when she want to scold me for things, macam you example, I give you an example. So we were at macam an event tau, macam kenduri bawah blok lah, macam orang kahwin lah. You know lah, kita kecil-kecil kan, like we are so small back then we have a lot of cousins what. So all those cousins macam nak main kat playground semua. So we went to play lah. So me, my brothers go play around the playground lah. My mother from far, Nasrull, Haikal, Fadli, I count to 10 ah.
The counting down.
The counting lah, Syul. Yeah, so macam, then at that point of time we feel like, kenapa sih aku tak boleh main?
Yeah.
Like my other cousin boleh main, what? And then this day and age I realised, you see if my mum were to let me play, all my cousins came back baju basah.
Yeah.
You know, berpeluh. Macam baju pakai lawa-lawa untuk pergi kenduri orang, kan dah berpeluh dah basah gini. Kan nanti masam kan. So my mum want to prevent all that from happening lah. So when all of that happened, then we realised actually, it's with reason that my mum do all these things lah. So yeah lah. So that's how we basically we grew up lah, you know, in kita punya parents punya style lah.
I also realised one thing. I think there's a reason also, like when you talk about the kenduri, then you want to run around with your cousins, right? I think there's also a reason why our mothers do that, or parents. My mom also like that. Like macam as simple as, why are you running around? You just bathe or something like that. So I think it's another way for them to just macam discipline kita, because like we said, our father are busy, right? The nature of their work caused them to be maybe neglectful, right? So I think it's just our mother's way to control us, because they got no other way. Takkan nak cakap baik-baik habis kita tak dengar, diorang pun penat, because they are the only one at that point of time to parent us, macam to be there for us, right? So I think it's just their way of macam also to control us lah, macam from going crazy lah. Imagine your mom want to layan your adik-beradik each, macam, oh, why you like this, why you like that, penat sia.
Right.
So I think it's another, that's one reason also lah why.
Okay, true. So now that we've already shared how we were being parented, right? So what do you think the pros and cons of the way you've been parented? What do you think?
For me, I think because like I said, I'm very lucky, right? So my mom and dad are more involved when it comes to my milestone ke apa. So because of that, I feel like, I got attention. Then when I grow up, right, I want to do better. For me, myself, I want to do better because I know that my parents are always there for me. Like I want to do better, and I'm quite independent as well. I realized I'm quite independent when I was growing up, because when I grow up, my sisters are in secondary school or even ITE, while I'm still like K1, K2. My first sister got married when I was in kindergarten too. So you can see how big the age gap is, right? So because of that, I grew up alone, right? I don't have any friends or siblings around the same age as me. So I feel like because of that, I grew up alone. And because my mom is a bit authoritative, right? She's like, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Or she makes me think when she scold me, right? She makes me like reflect lah, why I cannot do that. So when I grow up, right, I'm more aware. I understand better than
Right.
and because both my parents are a bit more involved when it comes to me.
Right.
Because they change over time, right?
Yeah.
I think they realize that, okay, I cannot do this with my third child anymore. I cannot do how I react to my first daughter or my second daughter. I cannot do it to my third daughter, right?
Yeah.
So because of that, I grew up, I feel like, okay, I want to do better because I know that my parents realize my realize my achievements.
Right.
They acknowledge my
Yeah.
achievements. So that's my pros lah. I'm more independent, I'm more self-aware, and I want to do better lah in life.
Right.
I think cons would be the fact that my dad even though I'm the lucky one, but still when we grew up, right, my dad is still fierce lah. So because of that, I'm like, when I grew up, I'm not very close with my dad. So I don't have that relationship like macam a normal father-daughter. My dad don't say I love you or sayang us,
Yeah.
His love language, right, is kau dah makan. Kau nak makan, ada makan, jom makan, food. Or he will buy things. That is my dad's love language. So because of
Gifting
that,
gifting.
so the cons, right, I don't have this. Actually, with my mother also, we don't have that affectionate, macam expressive relationship. Our love language is always food, money, macam actions.
So that explains, guys, why Miza is not word of assurance.
But I'm not saying that they are not good parents. Don't take it wrongly. They just show their love towards me and my sisters differently lah.
Yeah.
But of course, there are some toxic traits as we think that, okay, I think as my parents could do better. Obviously lah. I think every parents have that. Just that I feel like one of the cons would be I'm not as close to them lah. I'm not expressive. I realize that I know that they are growing old. I know when I'm at this age, right, I should be, be more closer to them. But it's just that I grew up not being expressive, or they are not being expressive to me. So we find, like for you, right, you and Ibu can like, hey Ibu, I love you, I sayang you. It's normal to you, right? But for me, it's not. So when I see you with Ibu like that, I'm like, oh, okay, because I don't, because I don't do that to my parents.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's the cons lah. Like, I don't have that normal relationship, but we are good. It's just that we are not expressive. Yeah, I think that's.
I think what's important is that we both turn out to be human lah.
Yes, human lah.
Humans are like this, human beings lah, bukan monyet lah.
Yes.
Like for me myself, I think I would agree with you lah. I mean, because our parenting punya, when we grew up with the parents that we have, kita punya cara brought up pun tak berapa beza sangat. I mean, it's not so different.
Yeah.
So my pros and cons would be as similar as you lah. But how I would say, what brings out the most, I mean, like what I agree the most to is being self-aware lah.
Yeah.
Because if you, I mean, with the kind of parenting that we have, right, macam like, for example, as simple as the example I gave just now, like time tengah kenduri tu, you play around, then your mom scold you, and then after that understand the reason why. We are actually more self-aware now. Like macam when we see kids tengah on a macam tengah lunch time, and kita had lunch, right? Like recently we had this encounter, right? Macam tengah lunch, dan budak ni macam kat sebelah tengah pekik-pekik kat sebelah meja ni, dan macam just like playing around the table, just being a nuisance lah. So macam this kind of things, when we look at it, we are actually aware, budak ni monyet juga si hari ni. Luckily I wasn't like this dulu. Like luckily my parents gini. So it makes us grow up throughout our whole teenage life with a bit more self-awareness lah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the most important pros that we had lah, that we've gained throughout our how we were being parented lah. Okay, like for cons for me, I think I grew up throughout my whole primary school life with fear lah.
Oh, okay.
Macam takut if I do anything wrong, macam kena rembat ke apa ke, macam I don't know what's the trigger point tau with my dad, because my dad is not there around. He's not around always.
Yeah.
So macam kita tak ada constant interaction, macam I can know what's his limits, what is not his limits. So macam tiba-tiba kalau dia nak fuse, they just trip.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. Yeah. So macam I think, so the cons is macam I live in fear a bit lah. Okay. So that's that lah for kita punya for our experience in being parented by our parents. So then I want to move on to how the new generation parenting macam looks like lah. So maybe when we paint this picture, it's not exactly as how you would perceive lah.
Yeah.
But this is what as a collective me and Miza think about lah. So now the new generation parenting is a bit more what you call it like woke.
Yeah.
Okay, so macam as simple as macam nak marah budak pun you must have a reason. You cannot just marah budak tu suka-suka. Macam sekarang macam nak pekik-pekik kat budak semua actually like for what you want nak pekik kat budak pasal dia masih budak kan.
Yeah, like you scream at your child in the public, right? People can just like apa tu it will turn heads lah.
Yeah. So macam and also macam physical punishments macam rotan also they can actually take it and they can perceive all that to macam macam it can lead to trauma.
Yes.
You know macam if you do physical punishments macam dulu kita macam kena rotan habis
it's like normal kena rotan macam kau kena rotan aku pun
you know like all those, but then now if you do it now like why are you abusing your kid? Macam as simple as macam 2-3 strokes of cane lah. It can be viewed as macam abuse. Okay, and then me and Miza we talked about it and then we realized that we come to this macam conclusion lah. You all can disagree on this, but then this is what we think happened. So because of the current existing contents right on the internet that we view, macam the kids view and all, I mean not bukan 5 years old and below lah. Macam we are talking about macam those yang dah ada akal lah, maybe 11 years old and above to all the way to teenagers, you know, because they have a mind of their own already, right? So when they consume the internet, what they consume is the current content that we have been consuming also. So macam the physical punishment, macam rotan can lead to trauma. Those are the things that macam can be shown in your internet, you know. Like macam they can say things like macam actually physical punishment is macam an abuse, so it can lead to trauma. So maybe what you are feeling now is actually a trauma. It's like macam a PTSD.
They are more aware. Dia macam more educated on this. Dia macam actually parent aku tak boleh pukul aku.
So because of this then macam maybe the kid macam actually mak dia just sebab dia pasal dia maybe nakal kat sekolah ke, kena complain dengan cikgu ke, you know, all that kind of thing. Tapi when he view such contents kan, then maybe he bring it up to school macam teacher my parents have been hitting me with the rotan, and then this and this and that. So macam then the kid can make reference to the video that they watched that they consumed, saying that macam actually this macam isn't this abuse? So then after that all comes down to then the teacher will go back to the parents, you know, and say that why not you reduce the physical punishment. Then after that physical punishment has been nearly abolished, so macam dah tak ada lagi, you know. Then after that the parents dah start to realise that actually macam actually aku pukul anak aku, so macam it inflicts trauma lah. Takkan aku nak raise aku punya kid the same way I was being raised. Like for example me and Miza, like when kita did something wrong, kita straight away terus kena rembat, you know, that kind of thing, you know. So sekarang the current parents also like to brings us to the another point. The current parents dah realise that actually their own traumas, they orang want to stop it with them lah.
Yes, correct. So because they know what they went through, right? They're like, I don't want my child to go through this. So that's why they stop certain habits or certain parenting styles. But that's the thing about punishment, like physical punishment. Some people view it as, it's okay. Some people is like, tak boleh pukul sikit pun macam asal kau nak kena pukul, kau kena inflict pain to your kid. So this topic, anybody like it's debatable lah.
Right.
We have a pool of people who say I'm okay with physical punishment. Another one would be no. So it's a never-ending debate lah on physical punishment, I feel. So going back to the generation now, I feel like because of the internet, because of our traumas or our experience as a kid, that's why we decided it ends with us. Another reference.
Alamak, stop.
It ends with us, okay? Because we want to stop this trauma. We don't want another generation of traumatic kids.
True.
Of mentally disturbed kids.
Yeah. So that is one group of parents who thinks of it that way.
Yes.
But some other parents perceive it differently though.
Yes.
Like macam, oh, it's because of my mother's and father's beating, I actually turned out to be human.
Yes.
So, you know what? I'm just going to adopt that template that my parents has already made for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they continue on. Yeah, so it really depends lah. What kind of parent you want to be.
Correct.
So it's either you want to adopt the way your parents do parenting on you, or you want to change it, for the better.
Yes.
Okay, we are not saying that macam there's only one straightforward answer for this. Okay,
Correct.
so we can actually macam look at it as how you want your child to be lah.
Yes.
Okay, and then so basically macam okay, let's trace back. So basically the older generation, right? The older generation like our parents semua kan, dorang macam actually those were the hustler generations lah.
Yeah.
Macam there were more macam male dominance in the household.
Correct.
To those yang ada dads lah, right? So you can experience that actually your dad macam like the man of the house, macam the male dominant,
Yeah. For them,
Yeah.
it's like the way to tell our kids, I'm the man of the house, is inflict punishment, like inflict
Yeah.
pain,
Yeah.
shout, apa tu macam be the man lah.
Yeah. And macam just
The
to,
mother is supposed to
yeah.
be the soft one, macam it's
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, macam
Yeah.
macam they display a lot more of macam authority in the house. Yeah, those kind of things lah.
And also it's because of their work lah. I think the nature of the work,
Yes.
because they are the hustlers, right?
Yes.
The fathers are the hustlers. So when they go back home, they don't expect to. In their mindset, old generation is like, when I go home, I'm not supposed to macam like I'm not supposed to be the one yang do the main parenting. So my parenting style is just to be authoritative, to be an authoritarian lah. Yeah, to
Yes,
just
yes.
show you, hey, I'm the man of the house. Listen to me. I don't care what you say.
Yes. Yeah, so basically macam what we believe is after we reflect back on how we were raised, actually macam being an authoritarian in the house, right, is actually the fastest way of parenting. I mean, apart from your relationship with your mother, which is a bit more softer, right, to
Yeah.
some of you who can relate. So basically being an authoritarian in the house, macam it's a faster way of parenting lah. Macam why would you want to care about your kid, like how your kid feel?
Yeah.
What the kid should know is that there's a roof above his head tau. Okay, so macam why would you want to care about him lah, or
Yeah.
her? Yeah, so that's why lah.
Correct.
Okay, but still macam ada a difference lah, being between neglectful dengan authoritarian. So
Yes.
macam at least like we are not we are not supporting any way of parenting styles lah, because it might hurt your feelings, right? So macam those people out there yang ada an authoritarian as a parent, macam they adopt an authoritarian parenting style, it's actually much better that compared to if they were to do neglectful parenting style to you. See, the thing is, neglectful is not caring at all, dude. Like if you do shit outside, and then they just don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
So that leaves you to crave more attention from your parents. So the more rebellious you will be.
Correct.
I say that because it happened. I mean, I have people who grew up like that, and I know, and they have experienced it like that. So those kids out there yang ada macam parents yang adopt authoritarian. I mean, of course, some of them also rebellious lah, but some of them turn out nice.
Yeah.
More compared to when they are being neglectful lah. Okay. So that's basically what I think lah. I mean, I don't know majority macam mana, right? Yeah. So for me, it's actually better authoritarian than neglectful lah. All of us, of course, not the best case scenario, which is macam your parent build positive relationship with you, make you understand what is why and all that.
So here comes the next question lah. Like, do you think it's effective to only adopt one style of parenting?
Well, for me, it's never lah. Obviously, it's not effective lah. I mean, for me, my take on this is that it has to vary with age. Okay, so macam budak tu masih kecil lah. Macam below 5 years old, I'll take it as macam below 4 years old, and macam dia masih belum ada akal lagi, right?
Yes.
Macam they don't have the mental capacity to understand
No matter how
a normal conversation.
Yes, no matter how loud you shout to them,
yes,
they still don't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand. So
It's
macam
no use.
yeah, so those are the times where you can be macam permissive, yet maybe macam majority permissive, but
a little bit authoritative, just a little bit.
Just a
macam
little
like,
bit.
hey, no. Like,
Macam dia start to macam nak pegang-pegang benda kaca nak gitu.
Yeah.
Then just give a slight slap on the hand maybe. Macam, no. So that is like a warning sign. Oh shit, kalau aku pegang benda gini, aku nanti aku sepak.
Yes.
Okay, maybe they can process that a bit lah. But then as they grow towards macam after 11 years old, like primary 5, primary 6, all the way up to your teenager. Teenager is the most problematic lah. I mean, we have
Yes.
went through that phase, right? So
Correct.
we know how problematic we are.
Yes.
Kita punya hormones just raging.
Yes.
So I think those are the times where macam kita try to be like
at the same level as them, like try to talk with them, like, what is
Yes.
happening with your life? Why are you doing this?
Yes. Yeah. So macam kalau macam benda yang tak kena, like macam dia dah nakal, dah beyond kan. Macam if you were to adopt authoritarian style pun, being the dictator, right?
Yeah,
In
it's
their
just gonna
lives,
make
right?
them more rebellious.
Yeah. So
I
macam
feel,
it's either that
personally.
or macam the best way is to just be an authoritative, adopt the authoritative
Yeah.
parenting style lah. You have to be clear in your ground rules.
Yep.
Give them the reason why they're not supposed to do it. Because teenagers dah start boleh faham tau.
Yes.
They can process their own thoughts already. So you have to explain to them, So that's why I say it varies with age. Yeah, okay. And then when dia dah, after teenager tu dah masuk poly semua, then maybe you can be relaxed a bit lah in your parenting. Because bawah pun dah lebat kan, bulu kan. So otak pun dah besar lah kan.
Yes.
So they should be able to bring about their own life lah.
Yeah.
So macam, so yeah lah, basically that's that lah. That's my take lah. So what do you think, Miza?
I think correct lah. It varies with age lah. Like you have to match up. You need to understand your child also lah. Personally, I think that we need to understand the kid lah. You cannot educate them, just tiba-tiba marah dorang, like especially dorang dah kecil, habis tiba-tiba just scream at them. That can be borderline abusive also, see.
True.
That's the thing about being authoritarian. It can lead to being abusive, or it can lead to a good result lah. Yeah, I feel.
Yeah,
that's my take on it lah.
Share with you all, like before we build up to this episode, right? We kind of actually asked our close friends lah, like what do they think about parenting and all. So we like to share with you some of the pointers that we got lah from this. So from person A, so basically we asked the fella about what do you think of the current macam parenting style of the modern parenting, or in general, what do you have to say, or what do you have to comment on in this parenting punya topic lah. So he said that so he asked me this question, which I actually got stunned lah. So I was hoping maybe you can give some comments lah.
Okay.
So he asked this question. So he said, when do we know macam, so until when should we still parent the kid? So macam when do we know if he's too much, or macam when do we know to let go?
Yeah.
But then after he asked me this question, what if anak kau, I mean like we are growing up in a Muslim punya setting, family kan. Okay, anak kau dah ada tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay, anak kau dah be so rebellious lah. So when will you stop parenting him? Are you gonna let him go? Or are you gonna still continue to parent him? So what's your answer, Miza?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't have the answer now.
Yes.
I don't have the answer now.
But then that's a very good question, Macam we can all talk about what methods we want to adopt now.
Yeah.
All things
doesn't
we can
matter,
talk about.
like you think this is wrong, that is right. But when I
mean,
have
like,
no answer
you
for that
can,
now.
no matter what, I mean like no matter lah, you can bring him up with all your planned kind of style. Okay lah, he grew up to be a good kid in school and get all the good grades. But then then when the time comes, dia ada their own conscience, dia terus be rebellious.
Then what are you gonna do as a parent?
What are you gonna do? Yeah. So these are the kind of questions that he asked. And I really stunned. I cannot answer him. Okay. Then another of our friends, me and Miza, we asked to choose lah between these two, whether you like the harsh parenting macam authoritarian ke, or you prefer gentle parenting. And then our friend said that she preferred to adopt a more gentle parenting approach, because macam example, like macam budak kecil ni dia macam jatuhkan benda and then at that age you nak marah dia pun bukannya dia boleh absorb pun. Macam it doesn't bring you anything what. And then when you raise your voice, it sets a certain impression on the kid that my mom keep shouting at me
like
macam
why?
Macam no love at all. So macam which we can agree to actually. Actually it makes a lot of sense actually, if you were to adopt gentle parenting and the style of parenting is macam tak ada pukulan pun, tak ada physical punishment also. The kid also can be better lah. So at the very young age, you have already instilled on him that he like macam that positive macam relationship between you and the kid lah.
Yes.
Yeah. So all of those things lah. So then we think back and then we realize that actually, wow, parenting is actually quite broad.
It's broad.
and it's really very wide of a topic to even talk about lah.
Yeah.
And different people have different perceptions lah.
Yes. What a method that may be right to you may not be right to another parent.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll never know. So I think
Mm.
from this topic, right, there's a few takeaway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, like before we get to the takeaway, I got one more thing to say.
okay.
Like for those of you out there who come to, I mean, like when you have discussions with your friend, saying things like macam, oh, the Gen Z nowadays are being parented in this manner. Wah, kau tengok aku dulu. You know, aku kena gini. I mean, like that is actually something we are not supposed to be proud of lah.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we don't know what's the outcome of that kid. The reason why you become who you are now is because you decided to be who you are now.
Yes.
Okay, and of course lah, you can say that it's because of how the parent your parent parented you.
Yeah, you cannot say that the method of your parents will work on your friends as well.
It won't work.
Yeah.
So it won't work to macam lah. So macam if you have anything macam if you have nothing nice to say,
don't say.
Just don't say. Okay, because we don't know. We don't know what's their household lah.
Or what they went through. Maybe they had a lot of traumas, like from
maybe.
whatever they went through.
So we cannot just assume that ni pasal dia gini pasal tak sebab tak pernah kena pukul.
Yes.
So we cannot actually say that kind of things lah. Okay?
Correct. So I think from this topic there's a lot of takeaway lah. Okay, I think for me it shows that it doesn't matter. There is so many ways of parenting. Like there's so many parenting styles. I mean the main is the four mains lah. But if you branch out, there's so many ways to parent.
Yep.
But you'll never know which one is the right one, which one is the best one.
Yeah.
Until you become a parent yourself and experience it.
Yes.
And I feel like the parenting style also depends on how will rely on how your kids, how you want your kids to grow up lah as a person. Yeah, so choose your parenting style wisely.
Yeah. And we also cannot advise you what lah.
Yes. but of course, with that being said, we are not that stupid to realize that okay, there are certain parenting styles which is so obvious it's abusive. You know, that doesn't mean that it tak apalah, that's their parenting style. When it's so obvious yang dia orang tengah abuse anak dorang. So let's not be blind about that as well lah. As much as we think that every parent should have their own parenting style, but there are some parenting styles that is so obvious to our eyes that it's not the right way lah. And we should not shut up about it lah. So to those of you who are listening, if you're a kid to your parent, right, excessive beatings or physical punishment is still abuse lah. You have to
but you need to be self-aware of yourself
yes.
lah. You know, like macam kau kalau perangai macam dajal kan, mesti kau kena rembat syul kan. I mean like, but we are not condoning excessive beatings, but you as a kid, you should know lah the limits of your parents lah.
Yes, correct. Then at the same time, for all single parents out there, we see you, we acknowledge you, we recognize it. You know, for single parents, you know, like mana bini pergi beli pampers tak balik,
atau suami beli rokok tak balik ke.
Y'all single parents, you guys deserve so much respect. We see you, we acknowledge you, and you know, it's not easy being both the mother and the father. So, you know, stay strong. You know, it's hard lah. Single parents, I respect you all so much.
If you were to come across our podcast by any chance lah, if anybody share or what, and then for those of you single parents, maybe you can share with us like macam what is your experience of raising the kid on your own. You know, like macam you have to be the mom and dad of the household. You know, I mean it's quite interesting to know lah. So macam don't know, drop us a DM, share, I don't know. If you were to come across lah kan. So lah, I mean, so in a nutshell, parenting is very hard. We know that parenting, there is never a straightforward answer. We acknowledge that sometimes when you try your best, your kids still macam
sial.
Macam turns out to be like that. Whatever it is, we respect all of you parents yang dah tengah dengar ni for braving through this milestone of yours. We hope that me and Miza hope is that when it's our turn, we will do it the right way. Although knowing that there's no right way, but we will do it the best as we can lah.
The best for our child. So, all right. We've come to the end of this episode, so we hope that you enjoyed listening to us.
Yes, and again, we are not professionals in any field, so please do not take us word for word.
Okay, so we'll see you guys at the next episode. Engkau dah episode sangat nak habis.
Okay, let's repeat that lah, Miza.
Okay,
Come on.
yes, come on lah. Okay, we'll see you guys at the next episode. Okay, so I'm Miza,
I'm Nasrull.
and this is
The
the
Blabber
Blabber
Station.
Station.